Hey everyone, my name is Charpath, and welcome back to another episode of FTB Revelation. I've done a bit of work between episodes. I've obviously added another, well maybe not obvious, but I added another furnace. That's a small change. But I've also, get out of here sheep. Thanks for the wool. I've prepared 9 recipes on these crafting tables. I also prepared some Tinker's stuff that we'll be getting into later. And I made a couple of other things that may be useful at some point. So I think the first thing that I really want to do is get these two things. My coke oven and alloy kiln set up. I haven't really set up an area for them. All of these things will be very much temporary, so I'm not entirely sure how my base will be laid out once it's done. But, these are the two structures for the coke oven and the alloy kiln. Right-click the middle block and right-click any block. This thing takes coal. I'll need some other coal, more coal for the alloy kiln. But it takes coal, and over time, turns it into, in the coke oven, coal coke and creosote oil. I'll be storing the creosote in this portable tank that I made, and then using the coal coke for better fuel, possibly in a blast furnace later on. The alloy kiln I can use to create more complicated alloys. I've already had to make, like, electrum for one of these other recipes, but that's what this does. It needs some fuel. Maybe I should just give it tiny coal instead. So those are the two immersive engineering multi-blocks I'll be making for now. I'll make the blast furnace later, although I'm not sure I'll ever need it. I have better ways of creating steel. So next, I think I'll just make a bunch of grout, and this'll turn into seared bricks for use in the Tinker's Construct smeltery. Because I just want, it's another way to make alloys, and I sort of just want to get it working as soon as I can. Let's sleep quickly. But the sooner I can get a smeltery, the sooner I can get rid of these tools that I'm using and do something better. Speaking of which, I can get a bit of steel back from that, although it probably won't be that much. Anyway, I'll let that smelt up while I work on some of these other things. Mainly the quartz grindstone. This'll, until I get the smeltery working, this right here will be my main method of ore doubling. I don't think it's 100% chance, but you have a 100% chance of one, and then a 90% chance of getting a second. So if you take, like, 5 iron, you should probably get 9 or 10 pulverized iron. Of course, it's manual, which is a disadvantage, but it's not. You sort of just have to throw a bunch of ores in here, and it'll get rid of them all eventually. The crank can break sometimes, but it's pretty cheap. It costs 5 sticks. I didn't feel the need to add it to one of my workbenches over there. Crafting stations. So it gets you 8 pulverized iron and probably some more once I finish up. Yeah. 10 pulverized iron from 5 ore. You can smelt this down, put it somewhere else, alloy it, whatever you want to do with it. Next up, I've got an energy cell and flux ducts. So the energy cell will store power. I don't entirely have a method of generation yet, but I do have these resonating crystals, and I'd like to try using them. So if I put this down and make input those two sides, can I place the crystals, and will they, like, can I, how do I get the power out of these? know. Yeah, I really don't know how these things work. Maybe I need something from deep resonance? Generator, maybe? Resonating ore. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how this thing works, so looks like I'm going to need some other kind of generator for this. I've also prepared the tree fluid extractor, latex processing unit, and fluiducts, which will allow me to get into industrial foregoing. I don't really have any way of automating it yet, but once I do, the best way to do this is with the tree fluid extractor servo going into this, and if I can grab a piece of wood to test it out, at least for now, this will start getting latex and it'll transfer into here, although slowly. The problem is, this needs power, so I think I'm going to have to do something else. However, the seared bricks are coming along nicely, so what I'm going to need is all of these things that I'm making. I think I'm just going to make like the absolute minimum for a smeltery, which I believe is this. So I have enough for a bit more, but if I make the absolute minimum, I believe that I can set it up right so that I can get more from this. So the tank can go there. So that forms the smeltery multi-block, and then the casting table can go there. Obviously I need fuel, which means I'm going to need something to, like, fuel it, but, I mean, obviously. But, I don't think I have anything to fuel it. So, I'm going to go out and look for lava. Of course, I'm going to get a bucket and maybe, like, a tank first. But I'll go out and look for some of these things, and I'll come back once I've got lava in the smeltery and can show you all what's going on. Alright, so I am back, and I now have lava. I made a reservoir just to make this a lot easier, and another tank. But now that I have a smeltery, I can come over here and make a large plate pattern, and then in the part builder, make a bunch of large plates. And unless this has worked in every single pack I've played with Tinker's Construct. But essentially what you do is you take the large plate and you can melt it down in the smeltery. It'll take a bit of time, but if you take a look at what JEI says, 1 stone large plate turns into 2 blocks of seared stone, and then seared stone can be cast into, well, a lot of things, but most importantly, seared stone, which you can then turn into seared bricks and use to expand your smeltery. So I made a casting basin, specifically just so I had, like, a way to cast this out properly. But even if you can just make the bare minimum of a smeltery, which is 2 seared bricks, a drain, a faucet, casting basin, a tank, and a controller. Just do that, and then start throwing stone large plates in. They cost cobblestone and nothing else, and you can just simply cast them out. Obviously, I made more seared bricks than the bare minimum, but I wanted to I wanted to make the smallest smeltery just to demonstrate that it is possible and easily done. And if you really need to do the bare minimum, then it's not that hard. So I think I'll work on expanding my smeltery, preferably to a 3x3 interior, but I'm not sure how easy that'll be. I think I'll move the tank to the back for now, and then just move a bunch of my things around. I'll be back once I've got the smeltery ready. Alright, so I've got the smeltery up to a 3x3 interior, and while it's not 2 blocks tall like I'd like it to be, it won't take too much more to get it there. Next, I'd like to start making my basic tinker's tools and then upgrading them a bit later. So I usually just go for basic stone tools and things like that, for at least for the beginning. So I think the best choice I have here is maybe flint, but I'll just use stone. So I can make a pickaxe. The iron pickaxe is still a bit better, at least for now. I usually go for a mattock because it's just a combination tool and I don't need to carry around as many things. And then a broadsword to replace my crowbar. It's... okay, I don't know if it's better or worse. I'm hoping it's better, but it may be worse. So now that I've got the smeltery, I can use... I believe I can use zinc and copper. The smeltery does ore doubling, so I believe I can smelt zinc down and use, I guess, 2 copper and 1 zinc in order to make a bunch of brass. And that'll allow me to make a lot of casts, which, in case you're unfamiliar with Tinker's Construct, let you make tool parts out of better, like, materials like iron and other metals, which is probably the plan, to just take brass and make a bunch of ingot casts, or maybe not ingot casts, but take the brass, make some tool part casts, and I guess ingots, and just upgrading my tools with some iron or whatever. So I'll do all of that, and I'll come back when that's done. Alright, so I've got a bunch of tool parts ready, and so I've decided that I'll just be going for iron for all of these things, plus I'll be taking flint and upgrading some of the parts of these tools. So iron pickaxe head and flint binding, durability, like, essentially doubles, mining speed increases, all goes up. I'm sort of noticing that these tools only start with 1 modifier, which is a bit annoying, and they take a while to level up. But I now have all iron tools, and I can start, if I wanted to, I could start adding modifiers to them. Like, I think I'll add 1 redstone each to my pickaxe and mattock, because you get those things when mining if you have 1 on there. And then I think I'll add 1 piece of lapis to this, so I start getting basic luck. The coke oven is doing well. I haven't really been paying much attention to it, but it has been working well. But I think now that I've got that going, I can make alloys and everything. I think it's about time for me to start working on power generation. So, I noticed that we have SNAD in the pack, which is, it's really cheap, just 2 sand, and it's a sand that makes cactus and sugarcane grow faster. The thing that most people don't know about it, well, I'll show you all later once I've got a reason to. So I think I'll go grab some sugarcane and prepare some recipes, and I'll be back when I've got that done. Alright, so I think I've finally got nearly everything prepared that I need. So I wanted to start getting machines and power set up. So I decided that I'd go for my standard steam dynamo thing. Problem is, in order to make the boiler conversion augment, I need hardened glass, which means I need, well, obsidian and lead. But to get obsidian, I need a mining level of obsidian, which means I need steel, or some other thing, but I think steel's the easiest. So, I don't have everything set up yet, but I do have most of the things that I'm going to need for this power generation. I will not be using either of these 2 augments yet, nor will I be using one of my steam dynamos, but I will put away a couple of things so I can start working on this. I've done this in the past. It usually works very well. Minimum is 10, so I'll set it to that. And you can already see that the sugarcane's growing fast. It obviously works, right? So I think if I've got everything set up right, I should just be able to... Maybe I should, like, get rid of this block and place something there. But if I place my... Okay, I have to place it backwards. I guess that's fine. I don't mess with observers often, but you can already tell this is definitely working. So then if I set up my vacuumulator here, and don't entirely remember how to filter it. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, sneaking with an empty hand. So I want it to only whitelist sugarcane. So if I take all this sugarcane and throw it near it, it should pick it up, right? But if I take gunpowder and throw it, it should not pick it up. So that's working, yes? I'll add more later, but since this is a device, it doesn't need anything else. So I'm going to use a steam dynamo here with my inputting into my energy cell. Then I'm going to take this aqueous accumulator I made and output water directly into it. I will need... I should plug these holes up. I will need to put, like, water in this thing. And I think I'll put it on those 2 faces. But if I grab 2 buckets of water... Great, I should probably just, like... empty the reservoir somehow, but I don't really know how to. Hey, there's a cat. Anyway, I'll grab 2 buckets of water and get the rest of the system up and running, and I'll explain it once that's done. Alright, so while it may be a little bit of a mess, I think I've essentially got everything working. All I need to do is set that to output. And... Maybe I need to make an item duct and, like, have this push into the item duct. I mean, this is supposed to auto-output. Okay, so maybe I need item duct, but that shouldn't be just 2 tin and the lead. I'm sure I have tin, right? So if I make some item ducts, this shouldn't take too long, but if I make some item ducts, I should be able... I essentially need to get the sugarcane into the steam dynamo, and since it does burn as fuel, the steam dynamo accepts any kind of burnable fuel, not just, like, coal or something. So, I've done this in previous packs that I've played, like, on my own, but am I going to need a servo? I may just need a servo for this. Or does it just not accept sugarcane? It doesn't. Huh. I've never had issues with this, but... That is interesting. Is there a list of things that it can burn? Really just anything, so why can't it burn sugarcane? And so if it has a burn time, it seems like the steam dynamo can accept it. What's going on with this then? Can it just not be used in a steam dynamo now? I've never had issues with this. I've done this setup multiple times in the past. And I don't know. Does it just not work? Okay, maybe this isn't the setup I was looking for. I'll figure a few things out. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so I figured out a possible solution, but it'll require a bit of reshuffling of all of this. Actually, more than a bit. I think I'll need to move everything one over to the right. But it is a solution. And I don't understand why, but while sugarcane cannot be, while sugarcane for some reason cannot be, used in a steam dynamo, I figured out that there's something else that can, and that is, well, sugarcane blocks. I don't understand why. I really don't. But if I take the steam dynamo again, and again, I'll need to move everything over. But I do believe that I can do everything that I need to do. I just really don't understand. And there goes the redstone that was down there. Neat. But, again, I really don't understand why it doesn't work this way anymore. I guess it doesn't. That's the only explanation. So, in order to fully automate this, I'm going to want to be able to automatically turn sugar canes into blocks of sugarcane, and that would be using the factorizer. I've already bookmarked that. Doesn't seem too hard, but I'll go ahead and craft that and bring you all back when I'm done with that. Okay, so I've made the factorizer. It's starting to become night, but I'm really hoping this works. If I set that to input and that to output, and then output to the right, it is burning sugarcane blocks. Of course, it's a bit slower than I'd like. I'm not really gaining any more sugarcane now, but I should be, now. But these machines are charging up. I'm making 60 RF a tick. And that should be increased a lot once I can get what I need from these two augments. Which I can't do yet. I can do it, but at the same time, I also can't. And the reasoning for that is I don't have steel. I sort of need steel. Which is why, one of the reasons why I've got this induction smelter. So I guess I can now use the latex processing unit, so that's nice. But, most importantly, I've noticed that I can use one steel, or one iron and one coal coke in the induction smelter. And it makes steel pretty fast. And to make a steel sharpening kit, which upgrades my mining level to obsidian, which means it can mine obsidian, I need 2 ingots, which I've already got 3 of. So 2 ingots melting down in the smeltery. I will need a sharpening kit cast, but that's why I've got brass. And if I make probably a wooden sharpening kit, I'd say would be the best. If I make a wooden sharpening kit, and then I take my brass and make a sharpening kit cast, I should, in theory, be able to upgrade my pickaxe's mining level to steel, allowing me to mine obsidian. Yeah. Steel sharpening kit? Now that I've got this, I can take this, the sharpening kit, and a flint, and you'll see my mining level goes up to obsidian. So, with that, I can, go and mine obsidian. I think I'm actually done in this cave, so I don't know if I've showed it yet, but you can set homes in this pack, and I've been doing that. I'm sort of curious, has this been keeping up? No, not really. But that's fine, I don't need to be burning it constantly. Anyway, I think I can use the quartz grindstone, although it'll cost 4 times the obsidian. Because I need pulverized obsidian. Like, I can't make these augments without pulverized obsidian. So I'm going to do exactly that. Pulverized obsidian. I do believe I need 4 obsidian and 1 lead for 2 hardened glass. I only really need 1, but I have to make 2. Otherwise it just won't work. In the meantime, I don't know how much obsidian I need for a sharpening kit, but it seems like it's just 1 block. So I can toss 1 block of obsidian in the smeltery and just make a sharpening kit later. So, induction smelter with these 2 things should make my hardened glass. I'm just going to upgrade this on the spot right now. And this is the one that's going to be using steam and turning it into RF. So I'll quickly just grab this because I need to. I'll set that redstone control to high. But yet again, I'm moving these over so I can take my energy cell, place it there. Steam dyno number 2 goes there. And then I can put my induction smelter back here. So this is the mess of a power generation setup I've got, but it doesn't work quite yet. I've got the turbine conversion augment, and now I've got the boiler conversion augment. And so this one will turn any dynamo into a steam boiler, which increases fuel efficiency, and basically it just makes steam instead of power. Then I can take the turbine conversion augment, and I guess I'll be using half the steam, but you can see that this has a maximum power output of 240 RF a tick, compared to the, 60? So that's a lot more power, and if I just turn redstone control to ignored, you're going to be seeing that, hey, I'm generating a lot of power. And this is this is why I wanted this power setup. It's so good. And I can probably improve it by adding a tank somewhere, but at this point, I've got infinite, completely renewable power. I probably still can't burn standard sugarcane in there, but why would I need to? I've got essentially all the power I'll need for a while, and then once I need more power, I can just scale this up. I will be able to, in the future, use conversion or upgrade kits to give more, like, upgrade slots, augment slots, and it'll just be really nice to have. And now that I've got all of this set up, I think if I just leave my game running for a while, I'll come back and I'll have a lot of power. And the best part about this thing is this setup uses 0 power. It's just infinite free generation of power for really cheap. Like this is all stuff you can accomplish with a smeltery and just some basic ores that you get from a bit of mining. And yeah, that's basic machines and power for today. Now I do want to do something else, which is grab some fluid ducts and hope that I can... Oh, I'm running out of water a bit here, aren't I? Maybe. What I'm hoping, though, is that I can run fluid ducts over to here and get water in here. But I don't think I have enough. Yeah, I don't. Maybe if I go underground, but... I'm gonna end up with a mess of wiring here very soon. I swear, I'll get an actual base someday. But today is not that day. If I make another set of fluid ducts, I'll be able to make it over here. But I think I'll get that set up. I just want to be able to auto-produce plastic and... Yeah, just auto-produce power and auto-produce plastic. That's the goal here, I think. Alright, so I believe I've got rubber production automated. It's a complete mess. I'm not going to lie. This is all hopefully temporary. I don't want to leave my base like this. But it has an input of wood and an output of rubber and everything else. Power should be staying constant. This doesn't use... I guess it uses 200 RF per one tiny dry rubber. But as long as I leave this running and give it wood. I can't use this wood. I already tried. But as long as I give it wood, like if I came over here and chopped down a tree, maybe a couple of trees. Well, my axe broke, but I'm sure you get the idea. Just punch a couple of trees, get a bunch of wood. Pretty simple. You can just come over here and feed it in. So I don't think I have to understand how it works, or I have to explain how it works, but lever powering the block placer, meaning every time there's not a block, it'll just place one. Tree fluid extractor, which should just be like constantly without anything, just extracting power from my wood. Fluid duct going into the latex processing unit, providing this with latex. There's also a fluid duct coming from the aqueous accumulator over here, which I think I did on camera. And then, this just processes, I think, a bucket of water and 50 millibuckets of latex, turn into one tiny dry rubber, which just gets stored in this basic drawer. So it's not hugely complicated, actually. It's quite easy as long as you have basic materials. But with that, I think it's about time to wrap up the episode. I mean, I did something off camera, which is put an obsidian sharpening kit on my pickaxe, but I didn't think I needed to show that because I've already shown how that works. Next episode, hopefully I'll have a base. I'll be in a test world trying to think of base ideas for this area. I think I will be using, I think it's X-Tones, which has a lot of different decoration blocks that I've never really had a chance to do anything with. But I'm interested in trying it out. They're not too expensive, at least most of them aren't. And yeah. Anyway, see you all next time. Bye.